Hello, Akwaba. I welcome you to our presentation. My name is Kinsley Otu, and I'm with Gilbert Kofi Germain. We're speaking to you from Agona, Swedru, in the central region of Ghana. In Swedru, mushrooms have been cultivated in an artisanal way for a long time. We now want to start producing button mushrooms in an industrial way, not only for Ghana and Africa, but for the global market. Let us guide you through an introduction of our business plan. You probably know that mushrooms are neither plants nor animals, but a special form of fungi. They grow from spores and only require a substrate that is based on a mix of sawdust or straw and chicken manure. We will grow them indoors where we can control temperature and humidity. Our target is the international food market, where mushrooms can be used with meat, can replace meat, or can be used as a spice. As such, they perfectly fit into recipes from around the globe. There are 4 types of advantages that mushrooms, especially button mushrooms, have. In terms of human health, mushrooms are high in protein, vitamins B and D, and antioxidants. In terms of productivity, mushrooms grow faster than any other crop with only 30 to 45 days from seedling to harvesting. Mushrooms grow on agricultural byproducts. That means they use the materials that would otherwise be left to waste. And finally, mushrooms do not require arable land, but are best grown in climatized buildings. The king of mushrooms, the button mushroom, has the additional advantage of a mild flavor, a versatile texture, and a low calorie count. Button mushrooms grow on a special substrate that is produced from a mix of either straw or sawdust, chicken manure, and water. The mix is kept humid for fermentation. When the substrate is ripe, it is then pasteurized to destroy microbes and other pests, and then it is inoculated with button mushroom spores. Over the following days, the spores grow into mycelia until the substrate is saturated. At that stage, the substrate is covered with a casing material which triggers the mycelia to produce mushrooms that break through the layer of casing. Mushrooms gradually ripen on the surface of the casing and can be harvested there for several weeks. Harvested mushrooms are processed on the same day by washing, slicing, drying, and packaging them. The drying processes gives them the long shelf life that Swedru Mushroom Farm is looking for. The following graphic shows the different technical steps in sequence. In the first step, the raw material is collected from farms and sawmills and is filled into storage bunkers. In the second step, materials are mixed in the optimal ratio and then filled into the substrate bunkers, where it will ferment for several weeks. During this time, the substrate requires water and will encourage the heat-producing fermentation process. In the third step, the substrate is autoclaved and filled into the trays in the growing chambers. At the same time, the spores are mixed into the substrate. About 2 to 3 weeks later, the substrate and the mycelia are covered with the casing material and left to start growing mushrooms. Finally, mushrooms are harvested, collected in flat trays to prevent the mushrooms at the bottom of the crate from being crushed. The crates are then transported to the processing hall for washing, grading, slicing, dehydration, and packaging, either for consumers or further processors. The Swedru Mushroom Farm is about 1.5 hectares in size. Half of it is a field of underground systems for rainwater harvesting and for solar panels on top of the systems to produce the necessary electricity for the growth chambers, the processing hall, and the office space. The other half of the land holds the storage bunkers, the substrate bunkers, the autoclaves, a storage shed, and the production building. The production building holds 8 growth chambers that produces the mushrooms in 4 cycles of 2 rooms each, with each cycle taking about 6 to 7 weeks. Each pair of chamber is harvested approximately 8 times per year, so that the farm produces about 500 tons of fresh button mushrooms per year, or 35 tons of dried mushrooms. It will take about 1 to 2 months to finalize the acquisition of the land, the permit and the regulatory approvals. The construction and installation work are relatively simple compared to factories or residential buildings, and will take about 3 to 6 months to complete. During this time, staff will already be hired and trained in mushroom production and processing in their respective roles and in self-motivated responsibilities for their parts in the success of Swedru Mushroom Farm. During the first production cycle in each of the 4 pairs of growth chambers, each team member will begin to practice his or her tasks, will see how they fit with those of their colleagues, and will have the opportunity to improve performance 3 times. When the second production cycle starts, with the first pair of growth chamber being loaded, the team will implement skills for the 5th time and is expected to have developed a certain level of routine. From that moment on, we consider the production no longer a pilot but in full capacity. The global mushroom market was expected to reach over $60 billion in 2025. We will soon find out if, in fact, we reached that capacity. Of this market, button mushrooms have the largest share. The demand is rising rapidly as consumers understand the health benefits of mushrooms. More people become vegetarians or vegans, and the taste of mushroom is hailed for its gourmet character. Especially in Africa, mushrooms are still short in supply. That is why Swedru mushroom farms will benefit from a pull market while building an international reputation in countries on other continents. The Swedru mushroom farm operates climate-controlled growth chambers that will be purchased from a provider that is specialized in mushroom production machinery. The production will run 12 months per year in about 6 to 7 cycles. The productivity is expected to be 30 kilograms per square meters. 90% of the revenue of Swedru mushroom farm will be from dehydrated mushrooms, and an additional 10% from selling of spent mushroom compost as organic fertilizers to households and farmers. In the first year, operational expenses will be 1 million euros, and as of the second year, they will fall to 900,000 euros. The details are presented in detail in the business plan. When the farm is in full production, the annual profit is estimated to be 2.2 million euros starting in the second year. The projected annual revenue is 3 million euros from the sales of mushrooms and compost. To build and kickstart the farm, we require 6 million euros, and within 2 years we expect to break even. Of the 6 million euros investment, we are looking for 2 million euros from 2 private investors and intend to raise the remaining 4 million euros from national and international subsidies and loans. In this table, we have summarized some of the key figures. As mentioned, the projected annual revenue from the mushrooms and compost are 3 million euros. To reach that goal, we need to invest 6 million euros. Of these 6 million euros, 5 million will be needed to set up the building and the solar field with rainwater harvesting, to invest into machines, and also to purchase vehicles. The annual operational expenses are at 900,000 euros, of which 400,000 euros are spent on salaries of 50 full-time employees. The business plan includes a detailed budget plan for the first 3 years, after which the primary investment will have been recuperated. Also includes in the business plan is a detailed Gantt chart of the production process and of its implementation plan during the construction and pilot phase. You might wonder why we have started this project at this time? The reasons are that consumers, especially in already industrialized countries, are becoming more and more health conscious. Especially in the local markets, there is a big gap between demand and supply. The agri-tech sector has also developed an efficient farm setup for energy, water, and especially for mushrooms. In addition, mushroom farming supports the food security goals of the SDGs, and mushrooms close the circles of the demand for the circular economy in agriculture. We hope that you are now motivated to grow together with us. We think we have proven our concepts. The market demand is strong. Swedru Mushroom Farm can also be copied in many other locations across Ghana and Africa. We are ready to launch, and we are looking for you as an investor in helping us to raise subsidies or in providing a loan for a portion of the 6 million euros we need to raise. If we have triggered your interest, we will gladly send you our business plan. Thank you so much for taking time to look into our presentation.